Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching The Breakfast Show. Last week, two important summits took place with the participation of Egypt. The first was between Egypt, Jordan, and Palestine, and the second was the Abu Dhabi Consultative Summit. To shed more light on the issue, we are most delighted to be joined by phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, the former assistant to the foreign minister. Ambassador Bayoumi, a very good morning to you, and thank you for joining us. And sir, first of all, how important and crucial was the timing of both summits, sir?
The timing is full of challenges and opportunities. We have some negative developments on the Palestinian file, and we have to see how we are going to deal with this new problems and challenges. We have a rightist government, much more than we have ever seen since 1948, and now the threat to Al-Aqsa Mosque is quite clear. The challenge is really obvious. So we went to the United Nations, we went to our alliances everywhere in the world in order to making a sort of group to support the Palestinian question. We had two resolutions in the General Assembly of the United Nations. A couple of days ago, we had a meeting between our president and King Abdullah of Jordan and the president of the Palestinian PLO. This consultative meeting is continuing these efforts in order to build a sort of front against what is going on against the Palestinian question. And I hope this will help our brothers in Palestine, and we need these efforts to continue in order to make the Israeli government realize that nobody in the whole world will accept what they are doing to the Palestinian or to Palestine or to Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem.
Right. Ambassador Bayoumi, could you shed, please, more light on the agenda of both summits? I mean, the main points that were tackled, I'm speaking here about the tripartite meeting and also the Abu Dhabi Consultative Summit.
In meetings like that, we do not concentrate on just one subject. Of course, we have some worries on the international level. We have been suffering from the corona epidemic, whether its health effect or its economic effect. Also, we are still witnessing a severe war in Ukraine between the NATO from one side and the Russian Confederation on the other side. And of course, it has its impacts on our economic activities. It has its impact on the supply of energy, where we are participating to solve this problem, of course. And the Arab League Ministers of Foreign Affairs try to interfere with a good intention in order to stop this war, because it's nonsense. But we have to live with this. On our region, we are not in very good health. We have problems where people of the same country are fighting each other, divided by tribes and parties in Syria and Libya, Yemen, Sudan, Somalia. All these countries, dear countries, are not in good shape. So Abu Dhabi for me is a meeting between those Arab countries who are standing on a solid ground in order to help solving these problems. Also, one positive dimension of the meeting is the bilateral relations, because of course intra-Arab relations, whether in trade or in exchanging finance or exchanging investment, is a very dear file. We have to work on it. And the good news here is Egypt is the largest country attracting Arab finance within the Arab fold. But this is the good news. The bad news that Arabs are still investing out of their countries much more than they are investing in the Arab world by almost 20 times bigger.
Right.
That means that we have to do our homework to make the life of the investor much better, to tackle our bureaucratic system and to make it better. Our finance and banking system needs visits and visits in order to make it much better than it's performing now.
Right.
So the sky is the limit for a meeting like that.
Ambassador Bayoumi, to you, what was the most tangible outcome of the Abu Dhabi summit?
The outcome is of the several meetings. I remember here the success we had in the meeting in the Saudi Arabia between 9 Arab head of states with the American president. This is quite obvious result that the American president changed his position. He came to us with a proposal to establish an Arab NATO against Iran. Immediately, our Minister of Foreign Affairs refused this, saying that Iran is not the enemy. The enemy is the one who is occupying the Palestinian land or the Golan in Syria and attacking every border. So they succeed to change the position of the American president to call for the two-state solution. And we went with this to the United Nations, and we have several resolutions supporting the Palestinian question. This is obvious result, and I think we are doing fine. And at last, close your eyes for the coming 20 years in the worst scenario. Nothing can be done to attack the Palestinian rights. And I admire the Palestinians stand in their own land. And if they continue resisting the occupation like that, one day, I hope very near, we shall reach a sort of solution for this very bad problem.
Right. Mr. Ambassador, His Excellency President Al-Sisi and the leaders of the United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Bahrain, Qatar, and Oman highlighted the importance of enhancing joint Arab work to tackle the region's political, security, and economic challenges. Could you please elaborate on that?
Yeah, this is the main target of what we are doing, to show the whole world that Arabs are almost one united front. And of course, there is a large sort of coordination among the Arab states and Arab leaders. And I must stress here that as a diplomat, I realize that Egypt gained lately since President El-Sisi took place, that now we have the weapon of the presidency summits. We were fighting our challenges on the ambassadorial level, on the ministerial level, but we stayed for 20 years before the revolution without interference of the presidents. Now we have such sort of summits. It's very effective, by the way, because the top decision makers are there, and they take the appropriate measures and decisions, and the executive level is there to listen, to apply immediately whatever the summit is deciding. This is a new era where really we have very active diplomacy on the level of the presidency of every country in the Arab world.
Right. Mr. Ambassador, back to the just Palestinian cause. Could you tell us, I mean, what do you see next? I mean, Egypt historically has always played the major part in supporting the just Palestinian cause. these are very difficult times for the Palestinians, as you mentioned earlier, and for the holy city of Jerusalem, Al-Quds. So could you tell us what do you see next? I mean, what is what do you want to see from Arab states, from the international community, from the United Nations? I mean,
Although I am sort of an optimistic person, but here I cannot be optimistic. I must warn our people to be ready for some time with very negative performance from the Israeli government. It is a government which cannot take any positive decision concerning the Palestinian question. So our task now is to help our brothers in Palestine much more than we are doing. We have to finance their living days and to support them financially, to support them by foodstuff. I think Rafah is seeing queues of cars going to Rafah in order to enter into Gaza, in order to support the Palestinian people for their daily needs. We have to support them, of course, and we are doing this on the international and regional level. And the good part of it that nobody in the whole world is agreeing of what Israel is doing. Even the Jewish community in the United States is not happy with what is going ahead, and everybody is talking now that for the security of Israel itself, they must accept the two-state solution. Because imagine in 20 years to come, the Arab Palestinian will exceed in number the Jewish number. So what future can you wait for such an attitude from the present Israeli government? But my worry is that we have to prepare ourselves for some negative attitude for some time to come.
Okay. And finally, Mr. Ambassador, could you please shed more light on Egypt's pivotal role as a main partner in all the regional causes and the importance of that role, especially at these difficult times the region is passing by?
I am quite convinced that Egypt is in the heart of the Arab world. If you look to the map, it is already in the middle of the Arab world, and we have never keep any effort in order to help our brothers everywhere, from Iraq in the far east up to Morocco, in the far west, in Yemen, in Sudan, everywhere. So I think Egyptians are quite convinced that it's not a matter of that we are helping Arab countries. No, it is a matter of our own security. The Egyptian security itself, it depends on all these efforts. Since 2,000 years before Christ, when our king Ahmos went to Palestine to fight against the Hyksos. Since Salah ad-Din went to the same area to fight against the Crusaders. Since Gamal Abdel Nasser, and even before Gamal Abdel Nasser, we went, and it's quite clear that no family in Egypt is, unless it's having a victim of these wars, but it is a matter of the Egyptian national security, which is a part of the Arab national security.
Right. If you allow me one last question, Mr. Ambassador, you mentioned that we have to brace ourselves, you believe, for tough times when it comes to the just Palestinian cause. If we look across the region, what other hotspots do you think we have to focus on in the near future, and do you want to see a bigger care for? What other hotspots and what other causes, other than the just Palestinian cause or alongside the just Palestinian cause, you think needs more work and more action and more coordination, led by Egypt, of course, in the region?
Yes, we are helping everywhere. Libya is another hot point. We are helping the Libyans in order to realize that one Libyan united country is much better than this divided one. Same thing in Syria or Lebanon.
Yeah.
But I must warn our brothers that God is telling us God will help those who are helping themselves. You cannot help your brothers unless they are ready to help themselves. That's what we are trying to convince them to come to the negotiation table and to come to reason. And if they want a good arbitrator, we are there. And this is our role, and we shall help them in order to bring their countries to peace again and to united countries in Syria and Lebanon, Libya, Yemen, and so on.
Right. Thank you very much, Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, as always, for your rich inputs. Thank you for your time, sir. That was Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, the former assistant to the foreign minister. Dear viewers, the breakfast show will resume after this short break. My dear colleague Dina Hussein will be here, and she'll be talking about Future 2023 with, of course, Egypt's participation in Madrid. Please do not go away.